My talking speak is fine. It's my laughing speak that tends to peak. Hey, well, hi. Here I am at the top of the podcast. It's been a while. Some of you may have noticed that the content warnings are no longer at the top of the podcast, but rather I've been putting them in the show notes of every episode. Every episode has content warnings still. I'll only be coming in at the top of the podcast like this when there is an episode with an especially egregious content warning, which this episode has. So we do have poisoning and murder and alcoholism, which, we've had episodes with those before, but also we have a lot of discrimination and violence against indigenous people and native people. So just so you know, there is some talk about just a shitty white person. That's our first story of the evening. Has that in it. So if that is something that you need to skip, totally understandable. Go right ahead. But hey, while I have your attention here and now, I want to remind everyone, and I talk about this, Jill and I talk about this a couple times in the episode, go to College Lore on Twitter and follow them, and go to twitch.tv and find College of Lore role-playing on there, because Jill and we will be playing some tabletop RPGs with them this comes out on Monday. So we'll be playing some TTRPGs with them today on Monday, this afternoon. And you should definitely be checking them out and following them. College of Lore is Jill's second project or other project that she does with her friend Kate, and you should definitely check that out. Okay, I believe that's all I have for you today. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the episode. See ya.
Hello and welcome.
Yes, hello, welcome. It is Maritime Supernatural episode 7.
Oh my God.
Lucky 7.
And it's our Christmas holiday winter related episode since we're posting this in December, late December.
Yeah, so we are actually recording on the 21st, which is the day that it was supposed to go out.
Yeah,
but like I mentioned on Twitter,
life got in the way.
Yeah, life and winter and the holidays got in the way. So this is probably going to be going up on December 23rd. And before we get into the episode, I want to remind everybody to check out College of Lore on twitch.tv and follow them, because Jill and I are going to be doing some streaming with them.
Yeah.
Which is Jill's other project over there, and her friend Kate.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
And we will be streaming it on the 23rd, and then our plan is to eventually have it also up on YouTube, so we'll be able to send that out on our Twitter once that's on YouTube as well.
Yes, awesome, cool. Yeah, so everybody right now, pause the podcast, go over to Twitter, follow @collegelore, and then if you have Twitch, follow them on there as well. And do you guys have your YouTube set up?
We do have our YouTube set up. We don't have enough subscribers to have a URL specific named one.
Okay.
But if you search College of Lore role playing on YouTube, you should be able to find us. But we'll make sure to put some links on our Twitter and our Twitch and stuff, so you can follow us there and help us reach that 100 so we can get a URL we can easily talk about.
Heck yes. And while you're on there, you can follow Maritime Supernatural Podcast too.
Please
do.
Two
birds.
Please do.
Get two birds stoned at once. It's great. And then, once you follow all those folks, you can press play on the podcast again.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
All right, we'll wait. Okay, here we go.
Did they come back?
Okay, now
yet?
you guys are
I think
back.
They're back.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Alrighty. So it's been a little while. It has been that long.
It's been a week.
About a week. Yeah, just about a week and a half. Yeah.
It's definitely been a wild week for sure.
Yeah. We had some health problems.
Yeah. My health problems specifically stemmed from eating theater popcorn.
Oh, no.
And then I had a few Tim Tam Slams.
Did you fall down the stairs?
No, I didn't actually. Thank goodness.
You had Tim Tam Slams?
I did. Our friend,
Oh my God.
our friend Daniel Luke, who created this music for this podcast, actually showed me Tim Tam Slams, and they are amazing.
Years ago, he showed
Years
that.
ago,
Yes.
but I still enjoy them once in a while. But eating a bunch of junk food did give me severe indigestion, which caused me some other issues.
It's so funny that you bring up Tim Tam Slams because I was in at a Shoppers Drug Mart today and I just happened to notice Tim Tams there. And it's like the first time I've seen those in years. And my immediate thought was, oh, I got to get some Tim Tam Slams. Yeah. I got to get those going.
We should explain what a Tim Tam Slam is.
We probably should. It's not alcoholic.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't have to be.
So the way I enjoy them, I don't drink coffee and I don't drink tea. So I had mine with hot chocolate. And so a Tim Tam is a type of kind of
Australian
like,
cookie.
Yeah, so it's like a cookie that's covered in chocolate and it's in a rectangle shape. So there's kind of,
And it's two cookies that are layered together.
with a delicious filling inside.
like with like a cream filling, yeah.
So
And then they're coated in the chocolate.
yes,
yeah.
and it's like a full coating, and that's very important because if there's any holes in your coating, you'll have difficulty creating a proper Tim Tam Slam. So you bite off one corner of your Tim Tam, and then you bite off the opposite corner of your Tim Tam, and then you drink your hot beverage through the cookie itself. So then you get
it's so
a delightful consistency. Like it's kind of like if you dipped an Oreo in hot chocolate or coffee or tea, and then you've just got this delicious like melt in your mouth chocolatey explosion. It's so good.
Yes, yeah. So you get like the awesome cookie flavor like through the Tim Tam while you're drinking the beverage. But then once you've like had a little gulp, you can bite into the Tim Tam, and because the chocolate on the outside has stayed relatively hard, like solid, and like, but the cookie on the inside is like now nice and like soft and crumbly. You can like, oh, it's such a great. I'm like salivating.
I know,
I should have
they're
picked
so
up that
good.
box of Tim Tams.
You know what? But maybe you're better off because after eating like a whole bag, well, not a whole bag to myself.
You did
but
have
I had-
esophagus
I
problems.
did. I suffered greatly for my
We're not as young as we
misdeeds.
used to be.
No, I know.
When Dan first showed us.
I will 100% eat Tim Tam Slams again, but I am never eating theater popcorn ever
A whole
again.
box.
No, I'm just never.
no.
I am never touching that ever again.
Oh, see, but now you have an excuse to bring your own treats into the theater.
Yeah, for my
because
own
you can tell them like,
safety.
yeah. I know the last time I had your popcorn, my esophagus basically shut down on me.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I mean, I know I did it to myself. Like, I know I did. But, like, oh boy, to protect myself, I am never eating theater popcorn again.
Oh, I don't think I could go without theater popcorn for the rest of my life.
I don't blame you.
Oh, I'm
It
such a
is
sucker for
it is delicious, which is part of the danger.
Especially day after when it's like slightly stale.
I've never had my popcorn last until the day after, so I cannot attest to that. And me not being able
So
to,
good.
have day old popcorn is probably why it hurts me so much.
Part of the problem, yeah. Oh, you want to know? I know that you, Jill, you're not gonna have any more theater popcorn for the rest of your life. But a little pro hack for our listeners here. When you go to put your buttery topping or butter-like topping onto the popcorn, take one of those straws and kind of like work it down into the bag of popcorn, and then you can get the butterish topping into the popcorn.
Smart. That's a good tip.
That way you don't end up with like dry popcorn. Like you get like a little like pop up again.
Do you know what would be amazing? If you had a straw and you poked like holes in the straw all the way down, and then you put that in and plug that in, and it's just like dispersing it throughout the whole bag.
I'm not sure how they would feel about us Pinteresting some straws. at the theater concession stand, like
It's
next
like,
to
just
like
wait,
ma'am, please, you have
Give me a minute.
you have to leave, ma'am.
I'm busy. 1 second. I'm making the perfect straw here for butter dispersal.
Yes, because it's not a good straw afterwards.
Well, you know what? We shouldn't be using these disposable straws anyway.
No, that's true.
We should make, like, to get a silicone one and have it just be the butter straw.
Hey, Dragon's Den, are you listening?
Or pay us to get on.
Yes, pay us to get on this. Dragon's Den, are you there? The entire den of dragons. Hello? Are you listening to this tiny podcast from the Maritimes? Hello?
Hello? Popcorn straw? Anyone?
Please,
okay.
Please let me have my butterish topping.
Actually, when I had the popcorn, I was looking for the butter topping, and I couldn't find where it was for some reason in the theater I was at. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it was like a blessing or a curse. Like, if I had doused it in butter, usually I drown it in butter.
Maybe that would
it have been better?
Maybe that would have soothed your esophagus.
Or would it have been much worse? And I
the butter acts as a base.
It would have coated my stomach.
Yes,
and
that's what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's basically just Pepto-Bismol.
But see, there we
butter
go.
flavored
There's
Pepto-Bismol.
Maybe next time if I find the butter dispenser, I will try theater popcorn once more. All right. Are we ready for our first tale of the evening?
I am totally ready because it is your turn to go first.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, here we go, dear.
Here we go. All right, so my story takes place in Newfoundland Labrador.
Mine also takes place in Newfoundland.
Oh,
but I already checked to make sure that they're not the same.
holidays.
Yes.
Yeah, we checked with each other.
Yeah. Ain't no holiday like a Newfie party. I mean, what?
I know.
Ain't no holiday like a Newfie holiday is what I meant to say.
Yeah, I love Newfoundland.
Yes.
Went to school there for a couple of degrees. Loved it. Loved the people. Love everything about that province.
I unfortunately have not been able to explore Newfoundland and Labrador, but literally every interaction I've had with a Newfoundlander or everything I hear about Newfoundland, I'm like, why am I not on this amazing magical rock? Like, I need to get out there right now.
So my story technically mostly takes place in Labrador, which I have never visited myself, but it's about a Newfoundlander who wasn't so nice.
Uh-oh.
In life, at least.
Is it the Krampus?
Okay. No, it's not the Krampus. Okay, so this is about Smoker the Trapper.
Ooh, that's spooky.
So Newfoundland Labrador is a very cold and snowy province, as I'm sure you've heard. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I remember all my winters there were like the deepest snow I've ever seen in my life.
It is a brutal winter.
Although I gotta say, Miramichi has shown me some storms in New Brunswick.
Yeah, I always
was living there.
I always laughed when I heard like, oh, Alberta is colder than the surface of Mars this morning. It's minus 45 Celsius, and I'm like, I went to school in that for like every day for a week. Like, it's fine.
I find that like it's not the cold you worry about because it's when it's super cold it doesn't really snow. Mm-hmm. It's the warmer weather that allows for the heavy snowfall, and then there's like 6 feet and you're trying to shovel all this snow up on these. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
So we're getting into some snowy stuff up in Newfoundland Labrador. So Smoker the Trapper leads an all-white dog team that warns of blizzards and warns people to stock up firewood and helps people who are lost. So like this really helpful spirit.
Okay.
However, he has some pretty dark origins. So some say he was a man who just, had this dog team who happened to be all white, and he got trapped in a snowstorm and, perished and tried to help people in his afterlife to lead people out of these storms. But I've heard another account that had a more flavorful beginning.
Oh.
Okay, so here we go.
Here we go.
So this Newfoundlander made his way up to Labrador to trap. So he's a trapper. He was looking for game and everything. So not finding much luck. So his name was Asau, and he went up there and he went for trapping and he didn't have much luck. So he decided to do the next best thing, which obviously is to brew his own alcohol and sell it to the local native population.
Honestly, sometimes you that's the only option, obviously.
Unfortunately, for the people he was selling to, which were predominantly natives, it was deadly poison, and he was basically selling them poison, which is a dirty shitbag thing to do.
Yeah, that sounds about par for the course, honestly.
Yeah, so this deadly concoction was dubbed Smoke, and that gave him the nickname Smoker. So he would sell this toxic drink to the natives of the area, poisoning them. And one time, apparently, he even committed murder.
Was it all of the native people that he killed with his poisonous concoction?
No, like on top of selling poison,
he did
also
an additional
committed
murder.
a straight up murder. Yeah, like he was a bad dude.
Yeah.
So when I was first reading about him, he sounded like they didn't put any of this in that article, so I was like, oh, he sounds like a tricksy kind of guy, because he was like evading the RCMP capture by tricking them. And one story was about him telling them there was a bunch of bear traps around his property or whatever, and they were like couldn't get at him, and I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of charming or whatever. And then I found out actually he was
a mischief maker.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's a murder maker.
And then I found out he was actually poisoning people and killed somebody.
Burrito.
Yeah. So the RCMP were after this guy, and they caught him, and he served about a year in jail, but that gave him time to plan. So instead of like repenting for his sins, he was like,
he's like, I'm gonna lean into these sins, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So when he got out, he got himself a dog team of all white huskies.
Those are called Samoyeds, I think.
Okay. And
no, not actually. That's a different dog breed. It's just that. No,
okay.
Okay, man, you are so willing to trust me, and I am deeply upset by that.
I would trust you with my life, so treat me
because
gently.
You know who is like a mischief maker is me.
Is you? Yeah.
I am I am not a murder maker. No, I'm definitely a mischief maker.
Just the mischief. Okay, yeah. So yeah, he got out of jail, and he had this genius plan. And so he went out and he went far and wide to get all white huskies for his dog sled team. He made sure to get a full white fur ensemble, like his outfit was all white, and he painted his sled white, like his komatik. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he got his sled, made sure everything was all white. So he would keep running his booze using this dog sled and this team in the snow, and the RCMP never caught him again.
I am going to break his kneecaps.
Right.
What a scummy, scuzzy thing to do.
Yeah.
If he was selling actual booze,
yeah,
like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still problematic in a lot of ways, but
yeah.
No, he's just smelling. He's smelling bad booze. No, he's selling bad booze.
He is. Booze. Yeah, he's a big old dirtbag. So the Mounties couldn't catch him, and it was like he was a ghost already. So can you guess how he died? I bet you can't.
In a blizzard?
Actually, they say he didn't die in a blizzard, but what happened was that one day, drunk as a skunk, he fell onto like a fishing. What are they called? Pallet or something like that. Like he fell and he broke his back on something. So he was just stumbling around by himself, drunk, probably off his own booze, which was poisoning him.
Yeah.
And so he fell on his back, and he couldn't get help. He couldn't do anything, and he suffered for 3 days, just broken back, lying there, during which he bargained with God for his afterlife, saying, Lord God, don't send me to hell. Let me drive my dogs to the end of time, and I'll make up for the bad I've done. So apparently someone must have heard his prayers, because although he was buried in Newfoundland, his spirit would wander Labrador, riding through the snow unseen, warning people of upcoming blizzards. So he would, make sure people were stocked up on firewood, and if anyone was lost in the blizzard, he'd lead them home, and people could hear dogs barking and going by, but they couldn't see anything. So at night, they can hear the sled team go by, or sometimes even seeing a team of white dogs with a driver dressed in white, but there's never any tracks left behind. One dog sled driver who was caught in a storm followed Smoker to winter huts in Frenchman's Island. A fisherman let him into his hut, like the lost man into his hut, and the man turned around to wave goodbye and thank Smoker for leading him to safety. And the fisherman who let this lost man in was like, there was nobody else there. There's, you're like, what are you doing? There's nobody else out there. It's a miracle you found this place.
Wow.
Yeah, so I found that information on a mix of telegram.com and also a book called Legends of Newfoundland and Labrador. So, yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting. Like, spend your life repenting for awful, awful cruelty and selfishness to kind of try and give back by, saving as many lives as possible and leading people, and even just making sure people are warm in the winter and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It really does not make up for his cruelty.
It didn't say how many people, if anyone, literally died from the booze he made. It never specified.
Okay, so people would just get sick.
Maybe.
A part of me is kind of like, but maybe they just didn't keep track of that, right? Because it wasn't important to
the
white
people
historians.
White people are dicks.
Let's yes.
So
let's not sugarcoat this.
Yeah, and then he did, but even if so I'm assuming he did murder people that way, but on top of it, he definitely committed at least one straight up murder by his hand kind of a deal.
All right, yeah.
So,
do we know anything about the murder, about his victim?
I think that the victim was also a native person. Yeah, so it was like he just kept being the worst human imaginable, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and now he haunts Labrador, trying to atone for deeds that he'll never be able to make up for.
Yep. Well, at least he is doing good. I mean, doesn't undo the bad he's already done.
Oh, of course not.
Like the atrocious bad.
No, you can't make up for that.
Going forward, if he keeps doing good, and it's still at the very least, it's an interesting story, and it does seem to have helped a lot of people.
Yeah. So according to these couple of legends I read, anyway.
Yep. Yeah. All right. I like the idea of an all-white husky team.
Yeah.
And, it's also just the visual of the dogs are all white, the sled's white, his clothes are white. I like this visual of almost like a Yuki Hana, or I forget what it is, but there's a legend in Japanese folklore about this young woman who will just walk into lonely inns and up to innkeepers during the middle of a blizzard, and if you give her a warm place to stay during the blizzard, you will have lots of good luck during the winter. And if you turn her away because she doesn't have any money, or if you are mean or cruel to her, basically the blizzard is yep, no, this is the end of the line for you.
Whoa.
Yes.
I wonder if Beauty and the Beast stole a little bit from that folklore.
Oh, why do you say that?
With the blizzard, and then the old woman comes to the door and she's like, let me in.
Yeah.
And then the Disney version, I should say. I should specify. Yeah. And then the prince is all like, nah, man.
Nah, dude. The Disney version is definitely very different from the original. But certainly, I do feel like people coming out of the blizzard is a common theme in a lot of humans' stories.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, a blizzard is no other storm.
It leaves
it has
a thick extra coating of
stuff. Exactly.
It doesn't just swipe stuff away, it adds.
Yes, exactly. And it can be destructive. It can also be beautiful, and it can be life-saving, because there's a lot of cultures in the world that rely on the insulation that comes with snow.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's very interesting.
It is interesting.
One very good story.
Yeah, one thing I also wanted to point out is that in the accounts I was reading, it mentioned that they didn't leave any footprints behind. But I'm like, if it's a blizzard, and like it keeps lasting, are they gonna find are they gonna look out for footprints right away?
You also said that he helps people in preparation for a storm.
Oh, that's
so it
true.
could be like this is more stories of like, they see him on the horizon
and they hear him,
like,
but they didn't notice him.
Yeah. Then they go out to look later, and you don't see the tracks like
good
or
point.
like as soon as he goes by. Yeah.
So that's Smoker the Trapper.
Very good.
Yeah.
I mean, he sucked in life, but I'm glad he's doing good now. I can't get over how bad he was in life.
He sucked in life, and I'm glad he's dead.
Yeah,
because
at least he's useful when he's dead.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna talk about my story.
Okay.
And so I'll get into it. It's also in the same area, this time in focusing in Newfoundland.
Yeah, excellent.
But every December, Newfoundland becomes overrun with strange humanoid creatures. Mm-hmm. They have odd, lumpy bodies, and their faces are obscured, and they speak in a strange dialect, often using ingressive speech.
They do.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
This is mummering.
It is.
Yes. Yeah, I had a feeling you're going to know right away.
Oh, yeah, totally. So, mummering's amazing.
Yes, so I am going to get into what mummering is, but this is more of a tradition than it is like a story or anything. So, but it's very interesting. So mummering or jannying. Feel free to, by the way, pipe up with anything I may have missed or have like missed the mark on, because I've only heard of mummering a little bit, like through you and like other things.
Right.
But I'm hoping that I've done it justice here.
Okay, perfect.
So yes, mummering or jannying consists of disguising oneself in strange clothing, oftentimes using cloths and pillows to stuff into your clothes to change your bodily appearance, and completely covering your face with some kind of mask.
Yes.
Some mummers will also use ingressive speech, that is, speaking by inhaling, to further disguise themselves. They then go house to house in a group, and they will perform plays and songs or tell jokes or just be these characters, and the homeowners then have to guess who each guest is. If they guess who the person is, the mummer has to remove their mask and reveal who they are and like be like, yep, you got me. If the homeowner does not guess who it is, they can then keep their mask on and continue on during the night.
It's so cool.
Yes. After the guessing, there's a little impromptu party where they have drinks and have snacks and have like a little like mini party before the group of mummers goes on to the next house.
So neat.
Yes. This sounds like really like almost like Yuletide Halloween kind of thing.
Oh, totally.
This is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I never got to participate myself because I would always be home for the days before the holidays because I was living there for school. So I would always, the semester would end and then I'd be gone and then all the fun stuff would happen and then I'd come back when it was over.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like it. I'll get into it a little bit. So this is not a New Brunswick thing. Like you don't see this in New Brunswick, but apparently PEI and Nova Scotia will sometimes do mummering, although it's called different things. But it's the same idea.
Oh, I never heard of it anywhere else. Actually, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's not as common, and it's more in the smaller communities. But you can see it in Nova Scotia and PEI.
Awesome.
So. Mummering was introduced to Newfoundland by English and Irish immigrants. It's unclear when exactly they introduced it, but there are records of mummering in Newfoundland that date as far back as 1819.
Wow.
Yes. So when it first started, mummering was a very violent event. It was actually banned on Newfoundland on December 28th, 1860, when a man named Isaac Mercer was killed by a group of participants after the local mummers parade.
Yeah, I feel like, you know that I never watched it, but you know The Purge. Is that what it is when they like, do they wear masks in that to do
they
crimes?
wear the masks and then they commit crimes. Yeah.
I feel like that is kind of reminiscent of that attitude of like, you don't know who we are and we can get away with it kind of thing.
Yeah, it was definitely like, from what I read, it was literally an event to go wild and forget the rules. Like, there's still definitely rules and laws, but it was just a like an excuse to break those laws.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Some people do that on Halloween too.
Yes, which is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
But, yeah. The joy of anonymity is that you feel you can get away with these things.
It's true, because like the internet is like a prime example of anonymity going wild sometimes.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So in the 1980s, mummering started to experience a revival, sans violence, partly due to the musical duo Semini releasing the Mummers song in 1982. I actually haven't had a chance to, I meant to listen to this song. I haven't had a chance to, but apparently it was super popular. Like, it skyrocketed, and at least in Newfoundland, and like it just completely revived mummering.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember the Mummers song by Lorena McCannett. Did you ever hear
Yeah,
that one?
well, like, I have not.
It's so good.
There are now like a ton of songs and poems, and I believe there's also a YouTube either miniseries or movie that's all about mummering.
Perfect.
Yes. There's also a horror film that came out earlier this year on YouTube.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I'll get into this, but they showed it at this year's Mummers Festival.
Oh, amazing.
And they were like, yeah, so this is part of the festival, but it happens a week later because it's scary and not really family friendly.
Yes.
Yes. So it's now a huge celebration, and like I said, it's a festival, and it's a part of many families' Christmas traditions on Newfoundland. And it's believed that Newfoundland's mummering is an evolution of Britain's mummers plays, which were these quickly put together plays performed publicly, like flash mob style, which is really interesting. And these plays often included absurd plots and characters. A very common storyline involved a main character being killed and then a quack doctor just popping up and being like, I'll revive him, and like just reviving this character using medicine or something. Like,
oh my goodness.
So, and these plays can be traced back to 1296.
Whoa.
Which, yeah, and they would often be part of royal and noble weddings. So again, flash mob style, these performers would just show up, put on these plays, and then they would undress from their costume super quickly and join the crowds, like join the audience, and just be at this wedding as a guest. So it's like, this is so like I couldn't believe how closely it reflected the modern flash mob.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a story from 1377 of 130 men on horseback who mummed the Prince of Wales, Richard II, on his wedding day.
Wow.
130
so
on
many.
horseback.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
so many.
I wish I knew even one horse, let alone
God.
137.
Oh God, I don't care about the people riding the horses. I'm like, I love you, horses. Your skulls are so big.
They are.
They're massive. There's been some speculation that mummers plays have been tied to fertility rituals, but there hasn't been much evidence to back the theory up. And so like nobody's quite sure where this historian got it from. I don't even like, if you look, you can find the historian's name. Like, it was literally just like, this guy thinks this. So mumming and mummering can actually be found all around the world in various forms. Although it is most popular in Newfoundland, Philadelphia, and parts of Britain and the UK. So in England, if I mispronounce any of this, I'm so sorry. In England, the North-style mummers in Cambridge, they put on a play called Derby Tup. And it's performed by a team of boys since 1895. And they introduce an elderly couple with the introduction line, "Me and our old lass." And they tell the story of how their tup, which is another word for ram, was killed by a butcher as the old man holds a broom with this wooden sheep skull hanging off the end.
Okay.
Yeah, in Sheffield, there's a version of this play where the ram is brought back to life by a quack doctor.
Oh my goodness.
In Ireland, many of the plays are the same as what you would see in England, but they use characters from Irish history and folklore. And mummers in Ireland are sometimes called wren boys.
Oh.
Yeah. So it seems as though in Britain and Ireland, mummers plays are still put on by an all-male cast, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mummers plays are also known as galicians in Scotland, and they often consist of characters being introduced via song. The characters may dance a solo dance when they're introduced, and at the end, all of the characters draw their swords for a sword dance. Then they mesh their swords together to create the shape of a shield.
Cool.
So like they don't necessarily tell stories, like they don't act out the plays like they normally, like what you would think of.
Yeah.
But instead it's literally just like this one long song with these characters coming in and being introduced, and then they dance together and form the shield.
Yeah, that sounds really neat.
Yeah. There's also a modern all-female mummers troupe called Meadows Mummers, who perform at events and festivals in Scotland, which is really cool and a neat little twist.
That is really nice. Aww.
Yeah. In the early 19th century, mummering in Philadelphia was oftentimes accompanied with gun shooting and groups of disguised individuals demanding free drinks from bars and taverns during New Year's celebrations.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So again, we're kind of falling back to that idea of this used to be a way to incite violence and anarchy. Yeah. The government of Philadelphia, they tried really hard to squash the mummering activities, and they're like, they just couldn't. They could not stop people from doing these things. The way, like, you know, in Newfoundland, they're like, nope, banning mummering. Like, we're putting a stop to this right now. People just would not stop mummering in Philadelphia.
Wow.
So they're like, okay, so the best course of action will actually require participants to form official groups with a leader who then had to apply for permits and be responsible for the group's actions.
Oh,
so they're like,
gosh.
yeah, okay, you can do this, but you are going to sign permits. Like, you are going to put your name down, and like, now you're responsible for this.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So by 1900, this system that they had come up with, it had turned into a city-sanctioned mummers parade where each group would be judged on pageantry and creativity, complete with cash prizes.
Well, that's much nicer than shooting
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, so there's like incentive to like do well and like, you know, perform in a way that the city would approve of. There are 4 distinct groups in the parade, which are comics, fancies, string bands, and fancy brigades. And it is estimated, get this, it is estimated that about 15,000 mummers perform in the parade each year.
Whoa, that's amazing.
Yes. Yeah, so this is during New Year's that the Mummers Parade happens in Philadelphia.
That sounds like such a fun way to spend New Year's now that it's like,
right?
You know, safer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm just thinking of like how wild these can get, especially with like modern technology.
Yeah.
Just get some LEDs in there.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Heck yes. Yeah.
Sounds really cool.
In Canada, although mummering is primarily a Newfoundland custom, as I mentioned, there are some places where families may practice mummering in Nova Scotia and PEI.
Right.
Nova Scotians may refer to it as Sandying or Santa-ing.
Oh.
It's the same idea where you go house to house, like in disguise.
Yeah.
Whereas PEI Islanders may call it 12th night cake and practice it in early January.
Oh.
I think it usually lands on January 6th.
That's really cool.
Yes, yeah. As I mentioned before, there is a Mummers Festival in Newfoundland. It takes place in St. John's over 2 weeks in late November and early December. And it consists of many plays, much food, and workshops like Ugly Stick Workshop,
Right.
Hobby Horse Workshop,
Yeah.
and Box and Bucket Mask Workshop. And the whole event climaxes into a massive Mummers Parade on the final day.
That's awesome.
So you get to you get to bring together like everything you learned in all these workshops, and you get to perform and show like your community. And you can actually find more information on the Mummers Festival at mummersfestival.ca.
Awesome.
Yes, yeah.
We should
it
go
sounds
one year.
super fun. Yes, please, God, yes, please. Maybe we'll do like a Mummers tour one year where we'll try to hit up as many like Mummers locations as we can.
That'd be amazing.
Because it seems that like I said, it starts like kind of like late November in St. John's. Mm-hmm. And then, like over New Year's in Philadelphia, and then January 6th in PEI. It sounds really cool. I think it starts like early November in Britain.
Oh.
So, yes, yeah.
We just need the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
So
only
I'm
thing.
setting up a Patreon.
Yeah. Send us mummering.
But seriously, if you guys want to send us money, we will arrange that. Please.
We're not desperate. I swear.
I am. Jill's not, but I am. Please let me do this full time.
Yeah.
But that's mummering
that's
in
lovely.
Newfoundland and around the world.
Yeah, I loved learning more about it.
Yes, yeah. It sounds super fun. Like I think the first time I heard of mummering was from you. And like the first time you explained it to me, like all I was thinking was like, oh, it's like Halloween but without the candy. But now I'm like, no, this is a party. Like this is really good.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of booze and fun going around.
Those booze and fun is what I'm about. Yeah.
Well, that's lovely.
So yeah.
I think that was a good. I think that was a really nice note to go to after Smoker, because he was such a turd.
Yeah,
And then it's like, well,
big old smoky turd.
Let's focus on a different sort of thing.
booze and fun.
Yeah, booze and fun.
Yes.
Like healthy booze. Well,
Yeah.
is there such
Well,
a
yeah.
less
I was gonna say
less
not
poisonous, slightly less poisonous booze and fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Booze that is safe to drink and fun.
Yes. Safe to drink in moderation and fun.
Yes, please drink safely. Drink responsibly.
Yeah, everyone make sure you are extra safe this Christmas season.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
There's,
Take care of
a
yourself.
lot of ice, a lot of snow.
Yeah, and
we
if
don't
there's
need...
a blizzard, don't wait around for Smoker. Just get yourself safe. We can't
Yes.
guarantee he'll help anyone.
Yeah, and don't accept drinks from strangers.
Oh, yeah, do not accept drinks from strangers.
Do not do that.
Don't do it.
Yeah. No matter how cute their dogs are.
Right. That's important. Cute dogs can get pretty far, but don't listen.
Oh, it's
So cute. So cute.
I'm cat sitting for a friend this week, and
Me too.
I am. Oh my gosh. So like I have the cat here in our apartment, and I'm just like alive. Anytime she walks in front of me, I have to stop everything and just be like, Nana.
Oh,
Nana, I love you.
You're cat
Nana.
sitting Nana. Aw.
Nana. Yes, yeah.
Gabby's baby.
All right. Yeah. So I'm falling asleep. I
Yeah.
was mentioning earlier, I'm getting like crazy, like, I don't know if you get this when you're really exhausted, but I keep feeling like my head is dunking underwater.
Oh my goodness.
It's probably not good.
When I get really tired, I find my eyes are open, but I'm not really seeing anything anymore.
Oh yeah. You get like almost like tunnel vision kind
Yeah.
of thing happening.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get like this weird, like it's almost like I've been drinking a little bit where like everything kind of has a bit of a lag.
Oh.
And yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I should
Okay.
probably chill.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. Well, thank you for the lovely episode. And
thank you for the lovely
Yeah.
episode. It was wonderful.
And I hope you have a lovely holiday, and as well as all
You
of our
too.
listeners.
Yes. Yeah, and I do want to say, and I'll post this at the beginning of the episode as well, I believe. Couple of notes. We are taking the month of January off.
Woo-hoo.
So we will be back in February of 2020 with some brand new episodes. Yes. I hope everyone's vision is clear. So yeah, we'll bring some new episodes for you in February, and lots of cool new content.
Yeah.
Get some awesome things for the podcast set up in that time.
Yeah.
And like I said at the beginning of the episode, check out at College Lore on Twitter and College of Lore Roleplaying on Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah.
That is Jill and her friend Kate's awesome project that they're putting on.
Yeah,
It's
we're
all
planning
tabletop
on-
RPGs.
We're planning on launching our YouTube in earnest in early 2020. So keep an eye out for that.
For sure. And in the meantime, listeners, feel free to continue sending in your stories. You can send them in to maritimesupernatural@gmail.com. It's all one word. No punctuation except where you would expect it in an email.
Yep.
You can also follow us on Twitter at MSN Podcast, on Instagram at MSN Podcast, although I have not been updating that as well as I should.
And that's part of our New Year resolutions.
Yes.
Get on that
for
social
sure.
media.
Yes. And then on YouTube as well, I post all of the newest episodes on their Maritime Supernatural podcast. You can check out Daniel Luke, who is the composer of our intro music. He's an amazing animator and artist and friend and composer. You can check him out on webbot15.com, webbot15.com. And thank you again so much to you, Jill, and to you, the listener, for joining us here on episode 7.
Yeah. It's been such a fun journey doing this with you so far, and I can't wait to see where we go next year.
I am so excited for 2020 and all that it brings for all of us in all of our projects.
Yeah,
and
woo! Creativity.
Keep being amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Woo-hoo.
keep being amazing. You are all doing great, and I'm so proud of all of you, so long as you aren't poisoning people.
Yeah,
don't do that.
Poison people. And don't do murder.
Don't do a murder.
Yeah.
Don't poison people.
Yeah.
Even if you promise to make up for it in the afterlife, that's no guarantee, my friend.
Yeah, I think
modern
that was a
medicine,
one-time
you
deal.
could live forever.
Yeah.
Yes. So, everyone have a happy new year and happy holidays. And I wish you all to rip in peace.
I love you.
Bye.
Bye.